Okay, so good evening, everyone, and let's start with paper 15, and that is SCM. Paper 15, SCM, that is strategic cost management, and this C is costing, right? This C is cost. So before starting with the actual syllabus, I just want some information from you. जब हम कॉस्ट की बात करते हैं, whenever we talk about some cost, what is exactly cost? What do you mean by cost exactly? Yes, what do you mean by cost exactly? Cost means expenditure, right? What is cost? Cost means expenditure. हमारा खर्चा. What is the actual expenditure on a particular product or a particular service, right? Okay. And now if I ask you, what is the aim of the business? What is our aim? एक normal business का aim क्या होना चाहिए? What should be the aim? Normal aim to earn profit, right? So the normal aim is to earn profit, that is maximize profit, right? What I want is to maximize the profit, and this situation is possible only when I reduce my costs, right? That means when I reduce my expenditure. Simple. एकदम simple सी बात है. That means I want to earn profit, I will reduce my cost, right? Or else, what should be the second aim? If I'm not able to reduce my cost, what should be the second aim? हमारा second aim क्या होना चाहिए? At least I should control the cost, right? So if I'm not able to reduce my cost, at least I should strive hard. The cost should not increase, it should be stable level, right? And this should be the main aim of my business, right? Okay. So my aim is to earn profit, right? And what is my aim? How will I earn maximum profit? I will reduce my cost, or else I will control my cost. Okay, fine. I'm having this information with me right now. Okay. Now if I tell you, this is the expenditure. In the basic levels, that is in your intermediate levels, what have you learned something about the costing? Cost में आपने क्या क्या सीखा है? You have elements, right? Elements of cost. You have already learned it. Elements of cost. What are elements of cost? Three types. First is the material. Second is labor. And third is expenses. Right? Elements of cost: material, labor, and expenses. Okay, fine. Again, they are divided into two parts. Which ones? Indirect and direct. Again, two parts: indirect, direct. And again, third part: indirect. Indirect and direct. So these things you have already learned. I'm not here to elaborate all these. It's just a brush up that you have already learned in your intermediate, right? All the direct things goes one way, and all the directs when added becomes prime cost. All the direct ones once added becomes prime cost. And what about the indirect ones? What are indirect known as? Indirect are known as overheads. So these are the basic things which you should know, right? Although we don't have elements of cost in your syllabus, you don't have to study material, you don't have to study labor or expenses, overheads, you don't have to study all this because you have already learned in your lower levels, right? Intermediate में already ये सब cover हो चुका है. What I want is you should know what are elements of cost. So you have already learned material, labor, and expenses. All the direct portion goes one way, they are known as prime cost. All the indirect ones goes one way, they are known as overheads, right? These are the basic things. Okay. The second part which I want you to know is the cost is also bifurcated by nature. Costs are also bifurcated by nature, right? What are the natures? So can I say the nature can be fixed? It can also be variable, and it can also be semi-variable. Perfect answers, right? The natures are, it can be fixed, it can be variable, or it can be semi-variable. But how will I know whether it is fixed, variable, or semi-variable? So if I ask you, there are 1,000 units, I have manufactured 1,000 units. My cost is 40,000. 1,200 units, Again, my cost is 40,000. 1500 units. Again, my cost is 40,000. So can you please tell me which type of cost is this? Obviously fixed cost, because 1000 units still 40,000. 1200 units 40,000. 1500 units it is still 40,000. That means this nature is fixed for the simple reason, right? यहाँ पर आपके यूनिट्स के हिसाब से आपका खर्चा चेंज नहीं होता है. The expenses, the cost is not changing upon the number of units, and therefore it is fixed. Okay. What about the variable one? If I say 1000 units is costing me 3,000 rupees. 1200 units is costing me 3,600 rupees. 1400 units is costing me 4,200, and 1500 units is costing me 4,500. I can clearly see that it is not a fixed expenditure because it is going on increasing with the number of units. If you clearly watch, as the number of units are increasing, my expenditure is also increasing. So how will I check whether it is variable or whether it is semi-variable? How will I check? So I take the per unit cost. This also you have learned in your lower levels, right? I will check the per unit cost. How will I check the per unit cost? This is the total cost and this is number of units. Yes, you just need to divide, that is per unit cost. 3000 divided by 1000 will give you 3. 3600 divided by 1200, again 3. 4200 divided by 1400, again 3. And 4500 divided by 1500, again 3. Can I say this is fixed per unit? And whenever it is fixed per unit, it becomes a variable cost. It is fixed per unit, it becomes a variable cost. So it is very simple. So here in the first scenario, when I was changing the number of units, the total expenditure was the same, 40,000, 40,000, 40,000. In the second scenario, as soon as the number of units went on increasing, the cost went on increasing, right? 1000 units, it was 3000. 1200 units, it was 3600. So it is increasing at a constant rate. If you check, the units went on by 200 and the cost went on by 600. And therefore, the per unit cost is fixed each and every time it becomes variable. Now, how to identify whether it is fixed, variable or semi-variable? You check the total cost. If you check the total cost, it was fixed each and every time, the nature is fixed. The cost went on increasing, the nature is variable. But what about semi-variable? This is the main point जहां पर many of the students lack. They lack. यहां पर अगर आप चेक करोगे semi-variable, I will give you number of units and I will give you the total cost. I will give you the total cost. 1000 units. The cost is 23,000. 1200 units. The cost is 26,000. 1500 units. The cost is 6, 9, 27 or else. I'll just make the corrections. This is 23,600 and this is 24,500. So now if you calculate the per unit cost, can you help me calculating the per unit cost? Yes, please tell me. 23. Okay, fine. This is 23. Then next per unit. 19.67. Okay, next.
16.33.
Okay, fine. 16.33. Now if you check, it was not at all fixed throughout the period. So it is not a fixed expenditure. It was not at all fixed in per unit. It is not at all variable. So it becomes a semi-variable cost. Now can you please help me? What do you mean by semi-variable? To a certain extent it is fixed and after that it becomes variable, right? Can you please help me how to calculate a fixed and variable in from semi-variable? पता है किसी को? Yes, can anyone tell me? How do I segregate fixed and variable from a semi-variable cost? Yes, I'm waiting for the answers. मुझे कुछ answers expect कर रहा हूं बेटा मैं आप लोगों से. I need some answers from your side also. Yes, please tell me. How do I segregate a cost? First of all, you should know that it is a semi-variable, right? It was not fixed in totality. It was not fixed in per unit. So it becomes a semi-variable cost. And now I want to find the semi-variable cost. Yes, I want the answers. I'm waiting for the YouTube students to give me the answers. I'll wait for a minute. Let's see how many of you know this. Look, this is not in your syllabus, okay? But you should know these basic things, because when you are starting with the finals, you should know these basic things, and then only you'll be completely fine with the speed of whatever I'll teach, okay? Okay, difference in cost. Still incomplete. I need the complete formula. Okay. Difference in cost, difference in unit. Okay, fine. So here, if you closely check, by the nature of fixed expense, it will be fixed, right? It will not increase. So what do you think? ये जो units यहाँ increase हुए, the units which have been increased and the cost which is increased, this is only variable. This is variable because the fixed part won't change at any point of time, right? This is a semi-variable cost. So how to find the variable cost? How to find the variable cost from semi-variable? It is difference in cost upon difference in units. Okay. So how much is the difference? If you check 23,000 and 23,600, what is the difference? 600 upon difference in units 1,000 and 1,200. What is the difference? 200, and therefore I will get 3 per unit. So how do I find the variable cost per unit? Is difference in cost upon difference in units, right? And now how do I find the fixed cost now? You can take any level. So I'll prefer the first level itself. That means this level, right? So how much is it? How do I calculate the total cost? I'll say variable cost, fixed cost. When I add the total cost, when I add the both of them, I will get total cost, right? Okay. So variable cost kitna tha yahan pe? It was 3 per unit, 1,000 units. So 1,000 into 3, it is 3,000. The total cost was 23, and therefore, what is my balancing figure? I'm left with fixed cost of 20,000, right? I'm left with fixed cost of 20,000. Now these are very basics which you should know, which every student learning costing should know, right? I should be able to segregate fixed and variable expenses from a semi-variable, right? Okay. Now some of the students might think, sir, why did you take 1,000? Why not 1,200? What if I take 1,200? The answers will be still the same. Let's check. If I take 1,200 units, this is variable, this is fixed, and this is total, right? So what is variable cost? It is 3 per unit. So for 1,200 units, how much will be the variable cost? 1,200 into 3, it is 3,600, giving me a total cost of 23,600. Still my fixed cost will be 20,000. So I was clearly able to segregate, right? Okay. Now some of the students might also think, sir, why did you take only 1,000 and 1,200? Why not 1,000 and 1,500, or why not 1,200 and 1,500? It is still the same. You can take any two differences. You can also take 1,200 and 1,500. You can also take 1,000 and 1,500. It's one and the same thing, right? So what is the variable cost per unit? It is difference in cost upon difference in unit. This is the very basic thing which you should know, and you should be able to segregate fixed and variable cost. I hope the point is clear to everyone. Okay, next point. Okay, talking about the syllabus. Exactly what is there in your syllabus? What you have to exactly study in your finals? So the main, utmost important, this is actually divided into 3 parts. ABC. Section A consists of 20 marks, B consists of 50 marks, and C consists of 30 marks. This 30 marks will be taken by Harshpadan sir. Check it. This 50 is completely marginal, standard, ABC, and transfer pricing. And utmost important is marginal, which you have already learned in your lower levels, right? Marginal is utmost important, the utmost important thing. A section consists of a bit theoretical part, which we will cover in the second part. I'll be first starting with this part, marginal costing. I'll be first starting with this part, which is marginal costing. Okay. So as you are already aware of marginal costing, you have already learned in your lower levels, right? I need an answer. What do you mean by exactly marginal costing? why there is a need for marginal costing? Can anyone answer? Can anyone out of you answer? What is the need for marginal costing? Yes, please tell me. Okay. Do you know the complete name of marginal costing? Exactly which technique it is called? Marginal costing is also known as the decision making, right? It is the decision making concept. Decision making. Now, why it is called as decision making? Why is it called as decision making? Yes. So, I ask you a question. I'll ask you a question. Please tell me whether you will do it or not. Whether you do it or not. So, I produced 1,000 units. Right? And my total cost came out to be 40,000. My total cost came out to be 40,000. I produced 1,000 units. My total cost came out to be 40,000 units. Can you please tell me what is my per unit cost? What is my per unit cost? 40 rupees. This is the very basic thing, right? 40 rupees is my per unit cost. Okay. So that means I can say, if suppose this is the unit, particular unit, this pen I can make in 40 rupees. I have produced 1,000 units and the total cost which is there with me is 40,000, right? Okay, fine. This is very basic thing. Now I am asking you, there is in one particular customer. I have made this 1,000 units. There is one particular customer. In the market, in the open market, I am able to sell 700 units. In the open market, I am able to sell 700 units. That means I am left with 300 units, right? Okay. Obviously, 300 units, I will not throw it off. I'll sell it in the next year, right? Okay. One of the customer came in and he is asking me to give these 300 units at rupees 38. Will you give? Yes or no? I want a simple reason. I'm saying you that you have produced 1,000 units. The total cost came out to be 40,000 and the per unit cost came out to be 40 rupees, right? Okay. In the open market, you have a demand of 700 units. So you have sold already 700 units and you are left with 300 units, right? You will obviously carry it forward it to the next year and you will sell it at a higher price, obviously next year. Now I'm telling you, a person comes in, one of the customer comes in and he is asking you to give that product in 38 rupees. Will you give? The answer will be a big no. How can I give it? It cost me rupees 40. How will I give it at 38? But marginal costing is something different. Obviously, we have learned something that I will not incur a loss, right? 40 रुपए की चीज अगर बन रही है तो I will not sell it at 38 rupees, right? I won't sell it at 38. But marginal costing is of a different view. What this marginal costing asks is, give me a bifurcation of your fixed cost and the variable cost. Give me a bifurcation of your fixed cost and variable cost, right? So I went with a bifurcation and then I realized that my fixed cost is 10,000 and my variable cost is 30,000. After checking that, that means I will pay a rent of rupees 10,000, say that is fixed, right? Okay. Variable cost means your material, your labor, your expenses, which completely depends upon the number of units. Can I say my per unit cost to make this product is 30 rupees? Variable. And my fixed cost is 1,000. So if I make 100 units, obviously I'll incur 10,000 rupees because I have to pay rent 10,000, right? If I make 100 units, then also I have to pay 10,000. If I make 200 units, then also I have to pay 10,000. If I make 300 units, then also 10,000. 400 units, then also 10,000. If I make 1,000 units also, that means then also I have to pay 10,000, right? That means this is a fixed expenditure. Marginal costing says, don't include this expenditure in your decision making. Don't include the fixed expenditure. Why are you incurring? Because this is a fixed nature. This will incur if you not at all produce, then also it will incur. So make your decision wisely on your variable cost. Now please tell me. I am left out with 300 units, right? What if I produce only 700 units? How much fixed cost will I incur? Obviously 10,000. What if I produce only 600 units? Then also 10,000. That means this 10,000 is going to incur anyhow, right? So why are you making your decision on that fixed cost? make your decision on the variable cost. So now please tell me, if I make 700 units, the fixed cost is 10,000, right? Obviously, I will not incur a loss, obvious, right? Okay. What if I produce complete 1000 units? So whatever 300 units I will make, that will only be dependent upon this 30, right? That means to make a particular unit, I am incurring a cost of only 30 rupees. I am making this pen, I am incurring a cost of material, labor and expenses of 30 rupees. That 10 rupees I added because that was fixed in nature. Do not add that expenditure because it is fixed up to a certain extent. After that, this product will only be of 30. So if a person asking for 38, why not to sell him? I'm still getting a profit of rupees 8, right? I'm still getting a profit of rupees 8. So why should I not sell? I should obviously sell. This will increase my profit up to a certain extent, right? And this is the power of marginal costing. What marginal costing says is marginal, as the name indicates. आप लोगों ने economics में पढ़ा होगा in your 11th 12th standard. Marginal is that one step additional. एक extra unit से आपको expenditure कितना लगता है? That means एक extra unit से आपको cost कितना लग रहा है? एक extra unit से it is only 30, which is the variable cost, right? It is not fixed, which is incurring after the unit. It is only the marginal, which is variable cost, which is incurring, right? And therefore, your decision should be based on the variable cost and not the fixed cost, right? Okay. So moving ahead, in your lower levels, right from your school level, you have learned one particular formula. This is sales less cost will give you profit, right? Will give you profit. Agreed? Yes. Sales में से अगर हम cost minus करते हैं, I obviously get a profit. Okay. Marginal costing says whatever you have learned is completely correct, but what I am doing is I am bifurcating this cost into two parts. I am bifurcating this cost into two parts. The first is sales less variable cost. This will give me a contribution. Less fixed cost will give me a profit. So whatever you have learned in your lower levels, exactly you have to learn the same, but the only thing is you need to bifurcate the cost into two parts, the first part being variable and the second part being fixed. Okay, fine. You might think that we are going very slow. You all already know this. Sales minus variable cost is contribution, less fixed cost is profit. You already know this, right? I completely understand. You have already learned in your intermediate, right? What I want is to start with the basics. I don't want any of the student to miss any of the point. Chicken. So we started with sales. So what I'm doing is I'm just segregating the fixed and variable cost. Okay. So now you will be able to connect why I taught you how to segregate the fixed and variable cost. Because if I give you this situation, the first situation, which I gave you this one, right? First of all, you should be able to segregate the expenses into variable and fixed, right? Into variable and fixed. Okay, fine. So you are now able to segregate the expenditure, right? Okay. Peter, can you please explain what do you mean by fixed cost? Fixed cost. Can I say which is fixed in nature? This is the very basic definition. Fixed in nature, right? Or else I can say which does not depend upon the number of units, right? Which does not depend upon number of units. Perfect. Okay. तो ये नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स पे डिपेंड नहीं करता है. बेटा व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय वेरिएबल कॉस्ट? इट कंप्लीटली डिपेंड्स अपॉन नंबर ऑफ यूनिट्स, राइट? It completely depends upon number of units. Or else I can also say it is fixed per unit. This is very important. It is fixed per unit. हर एक यूनिट पे उतना अमाउंट लगना ही है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर ये पेन है, दिस पेन I need a plastic of rupees 10, it will incur at rupees 10 for each and every unit. If I produce only one unit, I will incur a material cost of 10. If I produce 2 units, I will incur a material cost of rupees 20 and so on, right? So 10 rupees per unit I have to spend. That is the variable cost. So it becomes fixed per unit. So यहाँ पे fixed in nature, can I say it is fixed in totality? So it is fixed in total, but variable cost is fixed per unit, right? Okay. Now, why there is a need? Because my decision making will be completely on my contribution part. Okay, for the simple, if you ask me that how do I calculate the GP rate? एक नॉर्मल सा आपका अकाउंट्स में ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट हुआ करता था. दिस वाज द सेल्स पार्ट, मान लेते हैं 1 लाख रुपीस, एंड दिस वाज जीपी, दैट इज 20,000. सो इफ आई आस्क यू व्हाट इज जीपी रेट, यू विल से इट्स 20%. Yet how do you calculate it? It is GP rate. कैसे निकाला आपने? How did you calculate GP rate? So it was gross profit divided by sales into 100. Perfect. Yes. So it is gross profit divided by sales into 100. Now contribution is one of the profit. I have segregated into variable and fixed. Fixed cost is the secondary part. All my decisions will be on my contribution. So I need the contribution to sales ratio. So how do I calculate contribution to sales? It was GP to sales, now it is contribution to sales. How do I calculate? It will be contribution divided by sales into 100. Now this becomes a PV ratio, that is profit volume ratio, and all my decision making will be dependent upon this. All my decision making will be dependent upon this. So the basic formula which you have already learnt is contribution to sales ratio, which is nothing but PV ratio. PV ratio कैसे निकालते हैं हम? It is contribution divided by sales into 100. I'll just make the formula list, right? But not to mug up the formulas. आपको formula mug up नहीं करना, learn नहीं करना. You need to understand each and every formula. Okay, fine. So we have seen the contribution ratio, that is the PV ratio, right? If I ask you how to make a cost sheet in marginal, you will 100% say it is this cost sheet. How do I make a cost sheet in marginal? It is sales less variable, contribution less fixed will give me profit, right? Each and every time you have to do this. Okay. What is the next point which you have learned in your marginal? Is the break even. Is the break even part. Yes. Can anyone tell me what do you mean by break even? Okay. So break even condition is neither profit nor loss. Okay. Why is this level very important? Why is this level very important? See, if I'm starting a business, obviously I cannot say that right from the first day I'll start earning, right? I will not start earning right from the first day, but I will surely earn, right? I need a certain level so that all my expenses get covered. The first day, my aim should not be to earn profit, but at least I should cover all my expenses. फायदा ना हो, कम से कम नुकसान भी तो ना हो, right? So break even is that point where there is no profit, no loss, zero profit, zero loss. That means all my expenses should be covered, right? So how do I calculate break even? Do anyone remember? Anyone remember how do we calculate break even? Okay, perfect. Fixed cost divided by PV ratio is the break even, right? Perfect. So यहाँ पे break even, I have two formulas in units and in rupees, right? So break even, the main thing which you should know is break even completely depends upon the fixed cost, right? And therefore the numerator part is always fixed cost. The numerator part is always the fixed cost, and the denominator part is यहाँ पर contribution per unit, and यहाँ पर it becomes PV ratio. So these are the formulas which you have already learned. Yes, perfect, Moshada. So we have fixed cost divided by contribution and fixed cost divided by PV ratio. Fine. We'll take a simple example for this, just because we are learning the formulas again from the basic level. So we'll take one example on this. Okay. So I'm giving you an example. I'm having sales of 10,000 units and I'm selling it at rupees 40. Can you please tell me what is my sales amount? Obviously it is 4 lakh, right? Okay. Less variable cost. Variable cost 10,000 units. For example, I'm having a variable cost of 25, right? How much is this? Okay, I'll make it a bit simple for you. I'll make it 30. Okay, I'll make it 30. So it is 3 lakh. Okay. So how much is the contribution? Okay, contribution is very simple. It becomes 1 lakh. Okay. So I'm having contribution of 1 lakh rupees. Fixed cost is 60,000 given to you. Yes. Please tell me what is my profit. Profit is 40,000. Yes, profit is 40,000. Okay, fine. Now, if I ask you, what is my break even? What is my break even? Right? First of all, please tell me how did I calculate contribution? So I can say 10,000 units at rupees 10. Obviously, 40 minus 30 is 10. I'm earning 10 rupees contribution per unit, right? Okay. Now, how do I calculate fixed cost? Yeah, for break even in units. It is fixed cost divided by quantity per unit, right? Quantity per unit. Okay, fine. So, for how much is fixed cost? 60,000. And how much is contribution per unit? 10. That means at 6,000 units, I will achieve a break even. That means I need to sell anyhow 6,000 units a minimum, because 6,000 units I will incur no profit, no loss. Below 6,000, I will be in loss, and above 6,000, I will be in profit. Right? Now, why is this level very important? Why is this level very important? First of all, I will check whether it is true or not. So, what if I sell only 6,000 units? Can we make a cost sheet of 6,000 units? Well, the answer is yes. Let's make a cost sheet of 6,000 units. So, how much will be the sales? It will be 6,000 units into 40. How much is this? 2,40,000. Perfect. If I deduct variable cost, it will be 6,000 units into 30. Okay. 1,80,000. Perfect. How much is the contribution part? 60,000. Very simple one. How much is the fixed cost? 60,000. And therefore, I'm having a profit of 0 rupees, which is ultimately the break even, right? That means I can say, what is my first conclusion? At break even, my contribution and fixed cost should be same, right? At break even, my contribution should be equal to my fixed cost. That means break even is certain level where my fixed cost should be covered. Right? Break even is certain level where my fixed cost should be covered. So what is the first conclusion I am giving you? That at break even, my fixed cost and contribution will always be the same. Okay. This is the first point which I gave you. But this is not what I want to show you. What I want to explain to you is, what about the extra 1 unit which I'll sell? Can you please tell me, without even calculating, how much is the profit if I sell 6,001 units? Without making the cost sheet, please tell me, if I sell 6,001 units, what will be my profit? Yes, I need to explain this one. Let me check how many of you give me the same answer. Yeah, the correct answer. Yes. I want without calculating, no cheating. You cannot make an entire cost sheet with 6,001 units. The concept is hidden in this thing. You need to understand this concept. Why this break even is very important level. Why this break even is important? Because of this extra unit, 1 unit. Yes, I need an answer. Quick. Okay, once I got the answer as 10. Okay, fine. Once, how did you give me the answer? Please tell me. And others, don't tell me that you calculate entirely. Okay. Okay, Mokshida 10. Don't tell me that you are calculating it directly. I need this concept. Listen, mugging up the formulas and just getting the answers is not important in marginal. You should know the concept, right? This is very important. Yes, please tell me. I'm waiting for the answers. How do you calculate 10? देखो फॉर्मूला रटने से ना आंसर आता है, बट फॉर्मूला मत रटो. सेल्स पर यूनिट माइनस वेरिएबल कॉस्ट 40 minus 30 into 1. Okay, fine. Both are giving me the same answers, more or less the same answer. Okay. What is the logic behind this, beta? After the break even, can I say, or else I'll write over here, at break even, can I say I have covered all my fixed cost? Covered all my fixed cost. I have covered all my fixed cost. मतलब break even पर मेरा सारा cost cover हो चुका है. इसके बाद की लेवल पे, after this level, whatever the contribution is entirely my profit. After break even, contribution itself becomes the profit. This is important. Itself becomes the profit. Because at break even, I will cover all my fixed costs. क्या हमने फिक्स कॉस्ट पूरा कवर कर लिया बेटा 60,000? दैट मींस यहां से आगे फिक्स कॉस्ट नहीं लगने वाला है. जब मैं अगला यूनिट बनाऊंगा, whenever I'll produce that extra one unit, I will incur only a cost, variable cost. That means this 10 rupees becomes entirely my profit, right? फिक्स कॉस्ट तो होना ही नहीं है अभी क्या लगेगा? सिर्फ ये पेन बनाने का खर्चा लगेगा. I will incur only a cost to manufacture this pen, not the fixed cost, not the rent part. I have already covered it. Right? That means this 10 rupees will be my entire profit. Right? Okay. So यहाँ पे if you check, अगर हम चेक करें 6001 यूनिट्स का बनाने की कोशिश करें, so can we make a cost sheet of 6001? So if I sell 6001 units into 40, what is my sales? 2,40,040 rupees. Right? Okay. What is my variable expenditure? 6001 units into 30. How much? 1,80,030 rupees. 00. Okay. And my contribution will be 60,010 rupees. Less fixed cost will give me 60,000. And I'll incur a profit of 10, which I directly told you, right? I have given you this answer by just looking at the question. At 6,000 level, I was incurring, I was in a no profit, no loss zone, right? I was neither earning nor was I getting any loss. But after that unit, once I achieve that level, right from the very first unit, I will be in profit condition. And that profit will be my contribution itself. And that's why my break even is very important. Right? My break even is very important. That means I should at least not profit, but I should not incur a loss. This level is very important for me, right? So but the first day I should strive hard to achieve break even, not to earn profit. At least break even करो जाए ना, मैं सिर्फ no profit no loss condition में जाऊँ तो भी चलेगा. Clear? So I need a profit of, I'll start earning after the 6,000 level. And how much will I earn? The contribution itself I will earn. Clear? And now it's time to understand the second formula, which is MOS. What is MOS? The margin of safety. MOS is margin of safety. Margin of safety, which is MOS. Now, what is this margin of safety? What is this margin of safety? I will say I am in a profitable condition. I am in a profitable condition. मैं एक प्रॉफिटेबल पोजीशन पे हूं. अगर MOS है, that means after that level, after the break even, I will start earning. How much will I earn? Contribution itself I will earn. Right? Okay. MOS. Can I say MOS is completely dependent upon profit? And how do I calculate the MOS level? No. In units and in rupees. It is profit divided by contribution per unit. And in rupees, it is profit again divided by PV ratio. So it's one and the same thing. Contribution and PV are one and the same thing. Contribution is per unit, PV is in percentage. So it hardly matters. आपका same answer आना है. बस ये units और rupees में, right? अब आपने एक बात क्या समझते हैं? What you should understand, how to get the formulas. One simple reason, break even completely depends upon the fixed cost. And MOS completely depends upon the profit. This is very simple, right? This is very simple. Okay. Now I am telling you, what about my total sales? What about my total sales? The total sales is divided into two parts. First is the break even. The break even sales. At this level, I am not earning. After this level, I'll start earning. After that level, what is that level? That becomes MOS. So my total sales is divided into two parts, which is first level is break even and the second level is MOS, right? The first level is break even and the second level is MOS. At break even, I'm not earning. At MOS, I'm completely earning, right? Okay. What if I say my break even is 70%? So what will be MOS? Obviously 30%, because my total sale will always be 100%, right? Okay. That means if you are given the break even percentage, you can easily calculate the MOS sales, right? Okay. What if I tell you my break even is 60,000, right? And it comprises of 80%. Can you please tell me what is my MOS units? MOS units. अगर ये 80% है, अगर break even 80% है, तो MOS कितना रहेगा? 20%. So if this is 80%, how much is 20%? You can easily calculate. Yes, please give me the answer. 20,000. Is the point clear? So this becomes MOS, right? So what becomes my total sales? What becomes my total? Total becomes 80,000, because 60 plus 20 will give me 80. Is the point clear? Yes. So I need to calculate like this. Okay. Now, I'll again come on my basic things. We have learnt about PV ratio. How did I calculate PV ratio? How did I calculate PV ratio? It is contribution divided by sales. Perfect. This was the first formula which we learned. If you are not able to start the question, just start calculating anything. Start calculating. Just make a way out to calculate the other things which you are not able to calculate, right? PV ratio is the first thing which you should always calculate. Okay. Next, I told you the break even. And next, I told you MOS, right? I'm just teaching you the basic formulas for the first day in units and in rupees. Okay. What I told you is break even is completely dependent upon fixed cost and MOS is completely dependent upon profit. So the rule is the numerator part is always fixed cost for break even and the numerator part becomes profit for MOS. The simple reason, right? So यहाँ पे break even is completely dependent on fixed cost and MOS is completely dependent on profit, because after break even I am completely in profit, so MOS is completely dependent upon profit, right? How to get the in units answer? In units answer, it will always be contrib per unit and contrib per unit, right? And if I say in rupees, it will always be PV ratio, that is the profit volume ratio. So this thing is very simple now. So if I want to know the break even, I will always look for fixed cost. If I come to know the MOS, I will always go for profit, right? Okay, fine. Please tell me, if I'm having break even, can I calculate the fixed cost from break even? Obviously by using this formula, right? If I'm having break even, if I'm having contribution, I can easily calculate fixed cost. So that is not a major issue to calculate the fixed cost. This can be done by changing the formulas, right? So if I go on changing the formulas, that will give you a very huge list. So apart from that, just only learn one single formula. How do I calculate break even? Break even is completely dependent upon fixed cost. If I want the answer in number of units, take contribution per unit. If I want the answer in rupees, take PV ratio, right? Okay, fine. One more important point is desired sales. Okay, what do you mean by desired sales? Now if I ask you for the same question, this was the same question जो हम पहले कर रहे थे. Okay, so यहाँ पर था हमारे पास sales of 10,000 units, variable cost, and I was earning a profit of 40,000. What if I ask you, how many units should be sold? How many units should be sold to earn a profit of 50,000 rupees. मुझे 50,000 का प्रॉफिट चाहिए. हाउ मेनी यूनिट्स शुड आई सेल? हाउ विल यू कैलकुलेट दिस? यस, हाउ विल आई कैलकुलेट दिस? एनीवन विद द फॉर्मूला? किसी को फॉर्मूला पता है? आप में से भी दे सकते हैं. यस, आई एम वेटिंग फॉर द आंसर्स. Obviously, I'll give you the formula. These are some of the formulas which you have already learned in your lower levels, right? You have already learned in your intermediate. I'm just waiting कि आप लोगों को कितना आता है, because I haven't started teaching anything yet. Okay, fine. So I need a 50,000 profit, right? And the formula which I have received is fixed cost. I need to cover my cost also. Plus, I need a profit also, right? Divided by, it is PV ratio or quantity per unit. If I need the answer in units, it is quantity per unit. If I want the answer in rupees, I will get PV ratio. Okay, fine. Yes. So यहाँ पे fixed cost कितना है बेटा? 60,000. So it is 60,000 plus 50,000 divided by 10, which will give me 11,000 units. Right? सेकेंड पार्ट में अगर हम कंट्रीब्यूशन नहीं लेते हैं, इफ आई टेक पीवी रेशियो, देन ऑल्सो इट्स वन एंड द सेम थिंग. हाउ डू यू कैलकुलेट द पीवी रेशियो? यू कैन डायरेक्टली कैलकुलेट 1 lakh and 4 lakh, or you can calculate 10 and 40 also. You can take per unit also, you can take in totality also. So how do I calculate PV ratio? It is 1 lakh divided by 4 lakh or 10 divided by 40, which is 25%. So if I take the direct answers, so it will be 60,000 plus 50,000 divided by 25%. Which will give you directly 4,40,000, right? And if you check, मुझे यहां से अगर यहां आना है, कहने से इनटू सेलिंग प्राइस से मल्टीप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. सेलिंग प्राइस से मल्टीप्लाई करोगे, 11,000 यूनिट्स आपको बेचना है, 40 रुपीज में बेचो, सेल इट एट 40, you will get a total of 4,40,000. Clear? Okay, fine. So I am having the formula sheet with me now. This is the basic formula sheet. So break even किस पे डिपेंड करता है बेटा? Break even depends upon fixed cost. MOS depends upon profit. And desired sales depend upon both of this, right? So what is the profit? What is the formula? It will be fixed cost plus desired profit upon, again, number of units is contribution per unit, and it is fixed cost plus desired profit divided by PV ratio. And can you please tell me, अगर मुझे यहां से यहां आना है, if I want to come from here to here, can I say into SP is the formula? Into selling price is the basic formula, right? So this is the basic things which you have already studied, right? These are the basic things. Also, I have written one more formula, which is the total sales formula. How do I take the total sales? Total sales is break even plus MOS. So if I am having any two things, I can easily calculate the third thing, right? Okay. So always remember this chart. This is the basic formula chart for your finals also, right? Obviously, there will be indifference cost, there will be shutdown cost, which we will be learning further. What is indifference, what is shutdown, how to give the rankings, we will be learning, but this being a very basic thing, you should be able to know, right? These are some of the formulas which you should not learn. It should be if I ask you, it should be on your tongue, right? Okay. What do you mean by indifference point? Can anyone tell me what do you mean by indifference point? क्या रहता है indifference point? I don't want the formula. I want the meaning. What do you mean by indifference point? I don't want the formula. I want the meaning. Yes, please tell me what is indifference point? Okay. So yes, Mokshita, Vansh, Diksha, I'm getting the same answers. Good. Correct answers, huh? Yes. I want the indifference point meaning. Quick. So what do you mean difference? Difference. Ye ya wo, right? There's a difference, right? Indifference, where I'm not able to guess this is better or this is better. I'm at that level where I'm not able to guess whether this is better or this is better, right? Okay. So if I ask you, this is a pen. This person is giving me 40 rupees. This person is also giving you 40 rupees. Are you able to differentiate them? Which is better? No, this is also giving 40, this is also giving 40. So both are the same, right? This is that level at which you are not able to segregate which is better for you. Obviously, it needs a formula, which we'll be learning in the next sessions, indifference point. I hope many of you might be knowing this formula also. In the next levels, in the next class, we'll be learning indifference point, also the shutdown cost, and few of the basic questions. Few basic questions. Again, the second session will also be the just like intermediate session. I'm not teaching you finals at all. मैं सिर्फ पहले इंटरमीडिएट का आपको रिवाइज करा रहा हूं कि आप लोग क्या क्या पढ़ के आए हो, राइट? आफ्टर दैट विल बी लर्निंग द फाइनल स्टेज. ओके फाइन. आई होप आप लोगों को ये ब्रशअप हो गया होगा, कुछ याद आया होगा, राइट? जिसको नहीं आया बेटा, you need to revise once ये सारे formulas, right? You need to revise the सारे formulas, and also I'll be taking when I'll be taking the few basic questions, you'll be able to know how to use and when to use which formula, right? Okay, we'll stop.